This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for Monday, July the 4th. Happy Independence Day, south of the border. Charity was off today, not because of that. And not because she was at the Jays game yesterday, though that would be a reason to not want to go anywhere. What a tough homestand they had there. We'll find out more about that tomorrow. She can be back in tomorrow. Jimmy Hollywood off for July the 4th. It's the Coney Island Nathan's hot dog eating contest today, and I can't even. And I know I have to even, but I can't because I love it. Dates back to 2008. My son and I, the whole family, we were in Windsor for a family get-together, and Andrew and I were not included in one of the events. And so I said, hey, let's go for lunch. So how old would he have been? I don't know. Late teens, mid-late teens. So we popped into a restaurant, and it was July the 4th, and they were showing the Nathan's hot dog eating contest on television. ESPN had it on one of their higher channels, so it wasn't preempting a real sporting event. And there was a Philbin last time. I think his name was Patrick Philbin. He was taking part. And so that piqued our curiosity because we don't hear a lot of Philbins other than Regis. So we cheered for them, and he finished dismally in comparison. And that was when I saw for the very first time Joey Chestnut. Now, Joey Chestnut's going to win today. He wins every year. He said today he's going to eclipse his record. So in 10 minutes, if you've never seen it, in 10 minutes, they will just keep eating hot dogs, buns and all. And to make the buns go down sooner, they dip them in greasy water. So it's greasy, water-soaked buns and hot dogs. And in 10 minutes, he said today he will eat 76 of them. Let that sink in. 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Okay, could you eat 8 hot dogs a minute? Because that's what you would have to do. And maybe you think you could for the first minute and maybe the second. I don't think you can. But you think by minute 6 and 7, the mental toughness and physical fortitude to be able to keep going has just got to be another gear. But he's going to do it. A whole bunch of them. They bring them in like gladiators. They got the matching shirts. It's a big deal. And I don't know why, but I love it. It's like the accident you can't look away from. But it's unbelievable. So that's going on today. It's one of the things I like about July the 4th as a Canadian is your hot dog eating contest. I think it's absolutely amazing. Not a lot going on in the States I like these days, but boy, do I ever love that. What else going on today? In the Pulse, did you hear about Drake getting up on stage in Toronto on the weekend with the Backstreet Boys and Drake admitting that I Want It That Way was the coolest song he knew growing up because it helped him get a girl? That's good. I think Charity and I are going to talk about that, not only in an upcoming podcast, but on the show. Not necessarily that, but it's stuck in my mind. What song, guys, got you the girl? Or what song, ladies, got you the guy when you were a teen? And I think he said he was 13 or 14 when it happened. Was there a song that really sealed the deal or made them turn their head, if you will? We're going to talk about that coming up. But a cool guy's coming into town tomorrow. Michael Terry is his name. He is former military, still a hero in our books, and he is traveling the country on his motorcycle with a message. He has suffered, and if you have it, you suffer, from PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome disorder. Diagnosed, made it work. Made it work for 17 years while he still served. Think about that. And now that he is retired from the military, he spends his time on a bike traveling across this great country of ours, talking about it. And of course, why does he talk about it? Twofold, of course, as you'll hear. A, the more he shares his story, the more it enables other people to share their stories and heal. And as Michael says, it's a two-way road. The more I share, the more I heal. And so Michael was gracious enough to spend some time with Emily Cannell of 95.5 Hits FM to talk about, again, why he does it initially and what he hopes to share when he gets here to Trenton tomorrow.
Well, I actually did a ride very similar to this in 2018 as soon as I released from the military. And It was pretty much just I decided to do it. I'd released and I immediately felt, the effects of depression, isolation, withdrawal. And I was in a bad place. I retired because of complications from PTSD. So, I just decided, okay, I'm gonna get a motorcycle. I didn't even own one at the time, and I'm gonna ride across Canada, and I'm gonna talk about my experiences with PTSD, what I'm experiencing with transitioning, and that's just kind of evolved into. It wasn't as organized, but this, it got us to this point where I'm on the speaking tour across Canada and visiting about 30 communities to have formal speaking engagements, but, and just for the course of the ride, I'm visiting about 170 communities across Canada.
When you were mapping out this ride, Michael, are there any places in particular that you're really excited to stop in? Any places that you've never been to before?
Well, you mentioned I'm going coast to coast. You forgot one. So I am going to Tuktoyaktuk, Northwest Territories, right to the Arctic Ocean. So I'm definitely very excited to get up to Tuktoyaktuk. I've never been, but there's so many amazing places all across Canada, and I just kind of never know what I'm going to. Of course, now I started with the Maritimes and the Atlantic provinces where I'm from, and the Maritimes are known as being so friendly, and the reception I got, especially through Newfoundland and Labrador, has been absolutely incredible. It's been it's been very humbling. So. Yeah, I'm just excited to get everywhere. I'm excited to be on the road, and I'm excited to be connecting with people from all backgrounds across Canada. So when people come out, really what I do is I share my story from being diagnosed with PTSD in 2001, how I managed that through a further 17 years of service, the effects on me, the effects on my family and those close to me. And then I talk about that transition to civilian life. And I speak for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour sometimes. And then usually it's we have a kind of an open forum, question and answer period, or just an open discussion afterwards where people are encouraged to ask any question they like about mental health, about the ride, or they can, I've had people actually share some of their experiences as well. So it's, I share my story to get that conversation started, and then the audience kind of dictates what happens after that. It's as much therapy and healing and getting me connected with people as much as it is the other way. And I think that's the reason that people respond to it the way they have, is because I'm not just, up there saying, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this. It's just very much like, this is where I am, this is what I'm doing. And I think that's one of the things that people really respond to. And, when people share their story with me, or when I get their feedback on my story, it gives me a lot to reflect on, and it is such a huge catalyst for healing for me. So I want to thank everybody who's been involved with the tour so far, and to anybody who shares, anybody who comes out, I just want to say thank you to them, because they are part of my healing journey, and it means the world to me.
Michael Terry, great guy. He's going to be at the Trenton Legion tomorrow at noon. Major kudos to the Military Family Resource Center for helping to set that up and ensuring that when he travels to 170 communities, that we are one of the 30 that will have a microphone for him and chairs for you if you would like to take part tomorrow. So thanks very much for that. Coming up on the show this weekend on the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast, Susan Walsh will be back. We talked to her last week about Canada Day. Well, here comes the Belleville Waterfront and Multicultural Festival this weekend, kicking off on Thursday with the Midway primarily. Many more events throughout the weekend, of course, but you can get your Ride All Day bracelets right now at the Log Cabin at the Chamber of Commerce. $28, cash only. Stop on by today, tomorrow, Wednesday, pick them up, because, the ride tickets are $1.50, and all rides take anywhere from 3 to 5. So if it's a 5-ticket ride, that's $7.50. You go through there, you go on 4 rides, you already save money with the bracelets. So do that, okay? And the weather looks fabulous this weekend. So we'll get Susan Walsh on. And also, I was under the impression that in June, the brand new location of the Quinte Humane Society was going to open. Marilyn Laurie say, well, like every build, you're just a couple of weeks behind. So we're going to check in with Marilyn Laurie to find out how excited the cats and the dogs and the other animals are to finally get into their new home, and when will that be? All coming up this week. Charity back in tomorrow. Jimmy Hollywood's back in tomorrow. And also tomorrow, the guy who invented the cell phone 50 years ago has some advice for you. All that's coming up tomorrow morning with the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast and Mark and Charity Mornings on 95.5 Hits FM and streaming online with 955hitsfm.ca. We'll talk to you then.